Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to Inside Outer Cape with Nate and Laura. I'm Laura Potenza.
And I'm Nick Butera.
Yes. So today we are diving into a topic that every Provincetown homeowner asks us about, and that is renting out your home legally, profitably, and realistically.
Yes, as everyone knows, Provincetown is one of the most desirable rental markets in New England and on the Cape, but it's also one of the most unique. There are rules, customs, financial realities that you need to understand before you jump in.
Great. So let's start with basics. Do you need a license?
Hell yes. I mean, we're in New England after all.
We are.
So yeah, to rent out your Provincetown home, even once, you do need a short-term rental license. Short-term rental certificate is what it's called, but it's a license.
Okay, and that means you have to register your property. You have to meet safety requirements. You have to pay state and local lodging taxes, and you have to renew that annually.
Yeah, and trust us, the town will check.
Yes, they do. So the next question is, how long can you rent? What's the most common term that we have?
Okay, I'll answer that.
Okay.
Traditionally, Provincetown, it's a weekly rental market.
Yes.
I mean, everybody kind of knows this, and we're not, telling you anything you don't already know.
Right.
Especially in high season. But I will say, everyone probably also knows it's a Saturday to Saturday.
Saturday to Saturday.
Turnover.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that when we talk about cleaning. We'll get to options around that.
Right. So daily rentals do exist, but they're more common during the shoulder season, which is not in the high season in the summer, in July through the end of August.
So the head is July 4th.
Right. To Labor Day. Right.
And the shoulders.
The shoulders.
The 1.5 to 2 months on
either side. And seasonal rentals, they exist, but they're usually negotiated privately, and they're less common.
So, what would you consider a seasonal rental?
For the entire summer.
Yeah. In my experience, it's usually like July
through
June, July, August, or just July, August.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some condo associations restrict short-term rentals or they require minimum stays.
Yes. So you always have to check with your condo docs or your deed restrictions before you list.
Yeah. And also when you buy, you want to know if you're buying into an association that has restrictions. I'll give you an example. So a lot of people say, does it allow weekly rentals? And we say, yeah, a lot of condo association can allow weekly rentals.
Right.
But one of the properties I showed said it's weekly rentals and you must rent weekly. You cannot rent like 3 days. So you literally, if you're renting it, you must rent it for a full 7-day period, because the idea behind that is the association doesn't want all
these people coming in and out. Yeah.
But the problem with that can be, if you have to rent it by the week, then in the shoulder seasons when people don't want to come for a week, and they only want to come for a long weekend,
right?
All of a sudden you're violating the rules of the condo association.
Right.
And usually they don't care, but some do.
Some do.
So you have to look at that.
Yeah.
So and how, and if you're going to rent, how much do you want to do? Do you hire a company?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You could do it yourself.
Yep.
Or you could have a complete
Or you could have a complete full service. So when you do it yourself, there's a lot involved. You manage the guest screening, you do the messaging, you do the payments, the turnovers, emergencies, damage claims, the cleaners, and the maintenance.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
And it is a lot.
It is.
And especially if you don't live here.
Yeah.
Then it's a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, some ways to handle, like you could do Godwin's Vacation Rentals, which is Josh Malone's company.
Yep.
He does a very high-end,
Very
white
high-end
glove
yes.
touch, and can probably give you different a la carte options for your service.
Yep.
Or you could do like a Del Mar, which is like they give you a lump sum of cash, you turn over the keys.
Yes.
And they don't tell you anything.
Yeah, you just hand it over.
You don't even know what they charge per week. they literally.
Yeah.
And then tell me about Evolve a little bit.
Thank
I'll tell you. Evolve is.
Thanks, Nathan.
So actually, I mean, only reason I'm bringing it up is because I've only heard it being used once or twice, and I'm working with some buyers right now who are probably going to use that.
Oh, okay.
And I hadn't thought about them in a while, but what they do is they're more of a booking only company. They have recommendations for cleaners and management companies, but the main thing about them is they're very high tech, and they have an algorithm where you tell Evolve, like, I want to make, between $1,500 and $1,800 per week in the summer on a rental. I don't care that if you get me the most or the least in that range. I just want it booked. And so what they'll do is they'll go online and they'll see what everybody's charging, and they'll price you competitively so that you are solidly booked all summer. It's a good booking option.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But we should say that all the companies that are out there that you can use, they all charge very different levels of service. They take a different percentage. Some of them take as low as 10, but that's pretty rare now. And then there are some that are high of like 30 and 40%. But that just depends on the level of service that you want. So
yeah,
something.
And we can help you look into that too.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth doing a good due diligence on that.
Yes. And speaking of due diligence, we can't talk about rental properties without talking about cleaning services, because that is, your turnover is everything.
Yeah. I mean, finding a good cleaning company is, there are a lot of good ones, but finding one with availability is the challenge. And I haven't heard anybody having too much trouble lately, but I have heard it happening. And sometimes people say, well, if everybody's too busy on Saturday between 10 and 3, why don't I do
Sunday to Sunday or whatever?
Friday to Friday.
Yeah.
And I have had people do that. And honestly, I haven't had a lot of people do it, but the ones who have had issues booking because everybody's expecting Saturday to Saturday.
Right.
But cleaning is important.
Cleaning is really important. A good cleaner can keep you booked, and a bad one, that could be cost you a lot of money.
So, we can't talk about rentals without talking about Airbnb and VRBO.
Yes. Yeah.
They're the big names.
They're the big names, but they're not your only,
No.
It's not the only thing out there. We talked about Evolve, we talked about Godwin's, we talked about Del Mar, and there's also I Need a Vacation, which is a very, very local company.
And like Del Mar and Godwin's, and I don't even know, maybe Evolve, I think they use Airbnb and VRBO.
Okay.
They're not the actual, they are not the platform. They're more the management and booker, and they'll figure out how to get it out there. But I Need a Vacation is a local listing platform. Yeah. So that is a good one for the Cape that people don't know about.
Right. So, yeah. Okay. So the big question that everybody asks is, can you actually make money renting your Provincetown home?
That's a good question.
It is. And the answer is yes. But probably not the way that most people think.
Yeah.
So when you own a home, or you own a rental, excuse me, the it's more about the property appreciation than the rental income.
Right. That's the thing. You're not going to, if you're getting a mortgage to buy your property and you're renting it out, you're not going to make income just on the rental.
Right.
So
Right.
it'll offset your carrying costs.
Yes.
You'll pay your mortgage, your taxes, your HOA fee, utilities. But the real financial gain is in the appreciation, as you mentioned.
Right. Right. So if you are buying a home specifically to rent, you do need to talk about financing a little bit more. There are basically 3 different options for a loan. There's the traditional residential loan. So you take your income, you take your credit, you get approved, and you can still rent your home, but you can't count rental income to qualify unless it's a multifamily. Yeah.
And there is a commercial or a investment type loan where they will take the income into consideration, but they also look at your own personal income, and the rates are a little bit higher than your primary home, your primary home mortgage. That's Tony.
That's the dog. Yeah.
So, and then there's this other interesting one too. You want to
the DSCR loan. That's the debt service coverage ratio. And this is a business loan that's based on rental income, not your personal income. So the lender looks at, will the protected rent cover the mortgage? And also, if you do qualify, it's very complicated, even with complicated personal income. Yeah.
Right.
But they're good for investors or buyers whose income don't really fit traditional guidelines.
Rates are usually higher on those, and the lender, they usually want
very strong rental projections. So, and those DSCR loans, they don't work in every condo association. So some have rules about rentals that can eliminate that. So you have to find that out.
Yeah, it should have the fewer rental restrictions, the better for that kind of a loan.
Right. And talking about restrictions, Provincetown has a lot of rules.
Yep, they do.
Yes, and you need to understand them.
Yeah, you need to have the license or the certificate. You will need to collect the taxes, the lodging taxes, and remit them. Your platforms will often do that for you. You need to have safety inspections for some.
Yep.
Condo minimum stay rules.
Yep.
For your condo association, you need to look into that.
Yeah.
And
occupancy.
Yep.
Occupancy limits.
We'll set that for you.
Yes. You also have to make your tenants aware of the noise level.
Because the town has a noise ordinance, and so do individual condo associations.
Yes. So, and you have to, you can't waive your town regulations through your HOA rules. It doesn't work.
No.
So, and also you have to kind of keep your ear to the ground about any future regulations that may come up with the town that could impact your.
I mean, we often get asked about does a particular condo association allow short-term rentals? But we even get asked, does the town allow short-term rentals? Because it's been such a national topic.
Yes.
The answer is the town has had a very thorough conversation around this. Lots of conversation publicly on boards, on community spaces, and the town voted to continue to allow short-term rentals, generally because we understand that it is our economy.
Yes.
And so instead of restricting short-term rentals, we have put a lot of time and money and effort into building new housing for people who need it.
Right. So, Yeah, so I mean, owning a rental in Provincetown can be, a very rewarding experience, but only if you do understand the realities, the logistics, the licensing, the financial structure, the expectations.
Yeah, you got to really think about it as a long-term appreciating asset, not a quick profit business.
Right.
If you can do that, you're in shape.
You're in good shape. Yeah. So thanks for watching Inside Outer Cape, Provincetown Real Estate with Nate and Laura.
Thank you, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.